Hello everyone, welcome for the first time live to the World Cup on this channel. So we have some decisive Swiss games coming up, and we'll have a look at the results of round 4 here. So this has not been completely updated, but so to show you who is in the mix, so we have Catalonia and the Czech Republic. I believe the last game has just been played. I think it's 4-4, but we need to confirm that. We have Italy doing well against Norway. We have France doing very well against India. So when it says 20-0 here, that means yeah, 4 wins, right? Because you get 5 for a win among the 8 games, so that's a guaranteed draw. Bulgaria, Israel not fighting for the cut, so Israel winning the first 3 games there. Slovenia beating Australia, also not fighting for the cut. So we have this interesting game that we will be watching today to see if Austria can make it. So we have China against Austria, and it's 2 wins to China, 3 to Austria, but one of the games is just finishing, the mirror between Knights of Valyrian Steel decks. So I have that open on the Iron Throne. We'll just see who has won. The time has expired, so they're playing the last round right now. And then the next 2 games are going to happen after this. So they're just starting. Not sure if the players will actually wait. So they're supposed to have started already, but not sure if the players will wait for their teammates to finish first. Either way, we will join the games, even if we miss the start for a little bit. And what else do we have? So Greece and USA have tied for wins apiece, which could be favorable actually for both of them. Then we have Germany beating Spain, Poland and Berlin. Berlin got a draw there, which means Poland is out because Poland needed to win. And we have Hungary beating Chile. Both of those teams already out of the cut. So this is the situation. 4 teams make it through from each group, and let's have a look with Catalonia and the Czech Republic possibly tying. That means so it's 10 points for a win and 4 points for a tie. That means Catalonia on 40 and the Czech Republic on 28 would be very safe here. And then we have Norway and India, but from behind we have France, who is on the verge of beating India, and they would overtake them. And we have Italy, who I believe is also on the verge of beating Norway. So the 2 teams from behind, Italy and France, could overtake Norway and India here and push them out of the cut. So I believe those games are still to be played later, so we won't see them here. What we will see is the China game. So China is playing against Austria. China is safe, but Austria is not, so that's going to be quite interesting. So we have Greece and the USA. So the team that lost this one would have been in trouble, but it seems like it was a draw, right? So they both go on 24, and Germany has won, and they go on 28, which means Germany is through, and these 2 are on 20 points, and they wait what happens in the China-Austria game, because if Austria gets a draw, then we have 3 teams on 24 from 3rd to 5th place, and then we would need to see the tiebreaker situation. But if Austria wins against China, then obviously Austria is through. And if Austria loses, then okay, Greece, USA and Germany are through. So 3 different combinations here, and we'll see how Austria does. Let's see now what the situation is. So we have this game. Okay, it was just resolved, and who won this one? Seems like that's Austria winning, right? So that means they are guaranteed a draw because they were ahead, if I got that correctly. And China in the last 2 games can make it a draw, and then we would have that extremely complicated situation. And okay, 2 absolute stars, Reinhard and Bing, playing this one. So the game just starting, and okay, they have done the setup, so can't really take too much time on the decks, but just to show you, so Banner of the Falcon, the only really prominent Banner of the Falcon deck in this tournament, using the new agenda. that gives reserve and some potential strength increase for the price of initiative. And yeah, it's quite interesting how it goes about achieving that. So needs 12 add-in cards and then some loyal cards, and it is quite interesting. And playing lots of those 0 initiative plots in the deck. So we can't really examine it too closely, but one trick that I like is King's Landing in this deck. Only 2 copies, but it triggers whenever a King's Landing location enters play, and we have bowels, not bowels, so we have tunnels of the Red Keep and Alchemist's Guildhall, who can potentially come out of shadows in weird phases, and for instance in Dominance, and then they kneel and then they stand in standing again. And King's Landing can grab cards with that, so it's interesting if that engine gets going. And Reinhard is playing what? Aloof and apart, so no big dragons here that we sometimes see with Aloof and apart, but we have cards like Baris and Selmy. We have core Khal Drogo. And we have his champ card, Lisono, Miri, 3 copies of Miri. So no dragons, no Daenerys, no Dario, no Harris, so this is quite fascinating from Reinhard. And we'll see how it goes in this particular game, so should be very interesting. First snow in Mad King's Command is the reset. So I only have one screen here, but I have printed the decks out, so I can follow them. You can of course also check the decks, they are public information if you have that this spreadsheet that's been linked in Discord. If not, let me know and I will put it in chat. Okay, so there we are. And let's see how the game starts. And it starts with Reinhard getting a big board, including Jaqen Hagar, who has tokens on absolutely nothing, and Khal Drogo, and threatening to get a bunch of unopposed, but Lannister happy to just marshal all kinds of locations, and there is this King's Landing and cards in shadows, so Lannister happy to come from behind in this game and yeah, concede some power in the early game. So then resets of course become important, and there are both Valars in the Lannister deck, so basically just missing Wildfire. We'll see Duharis, Morgulis, First Snow and Mad King's Command over the course of the game if it goes long enough, and I suspect it will. Duharis is the one that is the most annoying of course for Aloof and apart, because they play some big guys and then you give prize away and lose a lot of the board with that. But yeah, a few charts here as well. And as always, if anyone wants to commentate, let me know. I might miss it on Discord because it's difficult to keep track of everything here with just the one screen, but yeah, see Hannes in the chat, so you are more than welcome to join me. We can do this one together. Yeah, there was some speculation that China would be too strong for absolutely everyone and just win their games comfortably. They did win in the first 3 rounds very comfortably, but Austria strong has a few has some help, let's say, from up north as well, and it's a fantastically strong team, and looks like it's going to take at least a draw from this, but could take all the points. And yeah, that could it will be interesting to see how the pairings work out then in the quarterfinals. We have some absolutely amazing teams that have made it through, and maybe the odd surprise as well. So good start for Reinhard. As expected, he takes the 6 power, but now he's going to have to contend with these cards coming back, right? And the resets as well. Don't have PD, but we have Mad King's Command, which will get at the locations. Would be nice for Bing to keep all of them, but won't be possible unfortunately. and pulling the trigger on Morgulis. And that's pretty good because the little guys were, of course, non-unique, and this guy wasn't duped, so not only does it kill most of the board, it also gets rid of the cards that would have survived the Harris along with a big character. So immediately the state of the game is basically equalized, except for the power, where Reinhard has run ahead, and we'll see if he can keep this up. It's one of the airing cards, and if you have Lords and Ladies, the ability not too bad either. Now the Lannister deck does have some of the usual suspects. Cersei, Tyrion, Tywin. This guy, good for setups, if you can set him up along with a 7 coster, but I don't think the deck is bothering. No, it's not bothering with any city plots. We have seen that come back a little bit in Martell Wars in this tournament. And the King's Landing engine. Miri. Now probably Reinhard will try to be as quick as possible, right? So won't be a substituting claim on power challenges, but intrigue he could. Now, is there anything super destructive in the shadow cards? There is a Robert Strong, a Mandon Moore. Regent's Guard, of course. And there are pinches. Pinching anything with power would be good, or yeah, could get some power for prize as well. Now, do you try to answer her in some way, or just accept that she might kill something? I don't know if she will. Penny, okay. Not exactly a destructive card in Shadows. And we have this, so +1 for each card. Okay. Yeah, that's repeatable. It's very repeatable, and can draw cards for King's Landing as well. So here is, I think, where we see that Mad King's Command, just to get rid of part of that engine. Can't keep everything. In fact, you can keep only a small part of what you have, and that will be good for Reinhard. First Snow will not be great. That's with all the shadows. It can be easily counterable for Lannister, but Mad King's Command is the one that will hurt. And then if you keep the draw engine to get the resources back, yeah, you're losing a lot, right? And then the opponent could run away again. Sunday comes into play, and now Miri can still try to do her thing on the Intrigue challenge. Yeah, probably thinking about that if the Mad King's Command gets played, maybe I was thinking just go for the kill. That's a good hit. What does Lannister do? Harris hits one of them, right? But it's not great. And here comes the location back, and it will draw a card for King's Landing, right? Yeah, that's a really nice trick. So King's Landing draws one card, and Bowels draws one card. So how can you possibly get rid of the cards? Well, you can play Mad King's Command. That will get rid of some locations, and then if the opponent wants to keep King's Landing and Bowels and the stuff that comes out of Shadows and lose all the econ. Well, it's quite a hit, and then takes a while for the draw to come back and do everything. And these trade routes now, before the locations go away, of course, will have to be used for putting characters on the board, actually, I think. Now, because that's the one thing that Bing is lacking here. No plot cancel. I think Martell is the only faction that can get rid of the Mad King's Command in the challenges phase, except if you play Forgotten Plans. Okay, returns me Sunday. That lets her come back and keep some gold. So this is interesting, because if she was in play, then this guy could become could be coming back with ambush, right? Or coming into play. Well, this deck is playing the Cersei's and the Tywins, so 16 gold. Yeah, here we go. It's not like it just has the shadow stuff and resets, so it can play, and it's going to survive this this Mad King's Command, alright. But then that tunnel is giving everyone 1000 strength, and the loops, that won't be happening, I think, from here. So let's see how confident he is that he can stall it and not concede a bunch of power. Maybe it's alright now with Tywin, right? This strength is going away, by the way. It's not going to be there in the challenges phase. Does he keep the draw? Is the question. Keep the draw, refill the hand, play to Harris, and then win in the second half of the game. And this guy can even... He could, in theory, I guess, put some non-Shadows King's Landing locations in Shadows to do that trick. But I don't think there are any. And actually I'm slightly surprised by some of the economy in this deck. I think there's... oh, yeah, there's 2 Lion Gates, even though it's a Shadows deck, so it works on its own and it works with King's Landing. And none of the City Gates that also trigger off King's Landing. So it's not an attempt to completely go all in on King's Landing. So not guaranteed to draw it, but he had it in round 1 here, which I'm sure he is quite pleased with. Yeah, and now the plan for Reinhard did not exactly work out, right? Because he doesn't have a much stronger board. There's even a dupe now, which, okay, maybe not that important now that Morgulis is gone. And a very strong Tywin, and something will survive to come into play. This is a Galtown Merchant, by the way, so just another cheap body that can come into play against Miri. That still needs to be addressed, of course. You can just with the red keep not being in play, you can just let her do stuff and then Tywin gets killed or something like that. Jukan, okay, didn't have his tokens, so we'll need Kindly Man to put some tokens into play. And no hand, just keeps the cards in Shadows that can now come into play. and dominate the board state, and I'm sure this will draw, and one of the cards in shadows has to be a King's Landing location, right? Doesn't have to be, but guessing that probably it is. Now, does he claim the dupe or does he bring the merchant out? Yeah, just checking if there is a connection problem. Dennis says that I missed 2 games. This connection. 2 crazy games 2 hours before. So what were the games from this matchup? Let's have a look what the schedule was. So we are at this one 3 p.m. European time. And I guess I missed this one, these 2. So Chinese Stark Aloof and the Targaryen deck. What was that? What are those matchups? So Baratheon winning for Austria and Greyjoy winning for Austria with 2 absolutely superb players, of course, so not surprising. Yeah. And they still have Reinhard and they still have Dennis. So yeah, this is a crazy strong team, right? Okay, we are back. And the dupe is claimed, but Friedman allowed to come out of the discard pile now. Okay, so Tunnels comes out. The Bowls gains gold, not draws a card, so I guess he's calculated that he either needs gold for the strength or he needs gold to bring other cards out. And then Tunnels goes back to Shadows for the strength, and I'm sure it will want to come out again for the draw in the dominance phase if it can. Assuming this has not been used this round, I don't think it has. Oh, but what do we have here? Discards Miss Sunday. But she ends up in the discard pile, not in play. And still able to win on defense. Why does she end up in the discard pile? Am I missing something that is cancelling her, or maybe Reinhard just didn't trigger it? Boom. Okay. And now we've used everything and there won't be gold to bring this out in dominance, I don't think, to get an extra card. So that's all the resources spent for now. And yeah, Bing came out of this pretty well. And still striking back, right? Because he's second player. And looks like Kindly Man won't be standing. One card left in hand. And it's used to defend power. Wants to keep ahead now. If his board gets destroyed, and we could see the Harris, it's not great for Lannister either, but keeps one character only in play. Then the game could go pretty quickly. But if it's all this back and forth without much renown or any rush potential, then keeping that advantage for as long as possible. 33 minutes left. We've seen games, lots of games being decided in that way. No claim, no pinch. There is renown though. But if you pull the trigger on the Harris, you keep Tywin, Penny and the Merchant. Well, it's not bad. Tyrion is lovely though. He's doing work. Now what's the draw here? Opening with 2 maidens. He has coppers and he has close call. Slightly weak on the econ though. And this is restricted. So finding room for it anyway. No, she's still alive, is Miss Sunday. So just discarded for consuming flames and not put into play. I have to assume it was a misclick, right? Because there's no great reason why I wouldn't keep her. She survives with another guy on the Harris. Would be an extra character. It's possible that there is something that I am not seeing, of course, in the deck that would prefer her in the discard pile. And using Great Hall on the one coster is never what you want to see. 2 cards would be nice to get something more in play, but then you need some cards for Queensguard as well. If you want to keep standing her, but I can't see how she is pushing anything through now against Lannister's deck and board state if before something else gets played. So we still have first snow, remember, and we have the Harris. First snow, the stuff that is in play obviously is not going back into Shadows that round, but against the Shadows deck, first snow is not something you can reliably hope for to change the game in your favor. Can he dig for cards so easily? This can draw as well. The Iron Throne. Okay. This is where King's Landing is great in Baratheon, because there is actually a use for this apart from just the 1 power you get from dominance and some reserve, which, let's be honest, this deck does not need at all. You get the chamber as well in that deck, but just such an obvious play. Have this with King's Landing. Just okay, you top deck it, but so what? It replaces itself, right? So it's a card that comes into play and then gives you something better, possibly. Yeah, Reinhard's still just going to play aggressively here, go for challenges. Force some defenders, but then there's plenty of cards on the other side and they will just be left standing to strike back. Yeah, Lannister deck survived Mad King's command really well. And the loop continues now. Now one thing that we are not really keeping an eye on is the agenda. So we have, what does it say? Number of House Erin cards, which is, I guess this guy is higher than your initiative value, which is 0 with the agenda. All the loyals get +1 strength, so it means Tywin and Tyrion get +1 strength. The thing is, it doesn't matter, does it? Look at the strengths here, so whether they have 18 and 8 or 19 and 9 makes no difference. That's why I know some people say that the agenda is not really doing much work. Now, if there was some kind of deck that cared for strength and had so many loyals that everything got strength, of course it's like having a permanent Song of Summer. And here comes the pinch. It's getting priced for Miri return to hand. Then she might get discarded. Yeah, so I wonder what other agenda this could have been, for instance, and if he thinks this is worth it. Yeah, so plus strength is the bonus and plus reserve is not really using, so the plus strength is the thing that matters. Could have been Fealty or something, for instance. So Miri stays in hand. Queens got lost instead. What do you do from here? Can't first snow. Tyrion's just putting this guy into shadows or something, and then you've not really reduced the board. So we go counting coppers. So if anyone knows, you can tell me what the plan is if this game ends now. The next one's supposed to be an hour from this one, right? An hour apart, but if they finish early, does the next game just start, or? Guess we'll see if it does. Otherwise we'll have to stop the stream and start again probably, which will make it slightly easier to then upload on YouTube. Okay, Pentoshi, so more econ against counting coppers, which Reinhard I think will appreciate the gold. But remember, we still have the Harris to come up and prized given away for every 6 coster or higher that leaves play, and we are on 11 here. Yeah, if Miri could kill Tywin it would be alright, but it's not happening with these boards. And now they're not getting plus... Are they getting plus strength? Yes, this is 0 and still, yeah. So on every plot that is within range of this -2 basically, just get the merchant in and you are constantly on +1. Oh. And putting this on Grollo, which is interesting, so could otherwise try to somehow stop Tywin from getting more renown this round. Goes on Targaryen characters, alright. Found room for this as well. To stand Tyrion, interesting. And one of the new cards, Nestor Royce. Can kneel neutral location. There's King's Landing, there's the Iron Throne. They were both knelt to gain gold for King's Landing, so they're gone. But in theory, more renown and possibly intimidate. I'd really love to see someone using the Arryn locations. They're unfortunately don't look that great. The Eyrie and Vale of Arryn, probably the best of them, and then the Bloody Gate, pretty useless. But hopefully someone can make them work at some point. Maybe they need to be supported in the future. This time Reinhard has passed because he's losing. If he does challenges, he needs to oppose, but I think he's losing anyway, right? There's going to be an unopposed because of... Is there stealth? Tyrion doesn't have it, Penny does. Yeah, there should be an unopposed and power and renown and dominance, yeah. And if it's not here, it's going to be on the Harris getting powerful prized. Threat of pinch as well. Which I guess doesn't matter. Or does it? Okay. Now the throne coming out standing can give him renown then as well. Pinching Miri, who has a dupe, slightly weird, I think. Pinching him, yeah, but then he only has an intrigue icon, right? Yeah, this doesn't matter for the renown. Can pinch her fully on the power challenge now that she's been saved and would gain price for that. I think he's getting to 17 power this round with renown, power claim, dominance and prized. So it's just over either way. Yeah, decent effort from Reinhard to get to 10, but then you just run into this wall and Mad King's command was just against the early board, right, where there was Penny and nothing much, just the locations. It would have been great. It would have two strong characters and then maybe something small or Robert Strong or something in shadows to threaten you. But this deck is not that type of deck. It plays Tywin and Bing played an excellent trade routes that round to get Tywin, get Tyrion, and suddenly you're not winning on the board with Mad King's command anymore. So really nicely played here. Okay, so now you have to give me a second so that I can see if the next game is starting or if we have some time. Supposed to start in 17 minutes. Okay. Let's see who won anyway, since it's still open. France won. So I think that's the one they needed, right? So they have their 5th win and France now makes it through. And I think that means India doesn't make it through especially if Italy also wins, then I think Italy and France, like I said, make it through. And okay, interesting to see 2 copies of Iron Mines, one of the cards that after the redesigns I would personally not play. I think saving outside of plots. Plots is the one where you need it, right, with Morghulis and Greyjoy. But saving outside and doesn't even protect against burn is tricky. And yeah, we have this guy being annoying. So that's France safely through. And seems like we have some time until the next game starts, if it starts on time, and we can have a look at what the players will play. So it's 4-3 in favor of Austria, if I'm not mistaken. And the last game is this. So for China we have Greyjoy Fealty, and I believe this is very similar to the deck that we played, since we took a previous game from a Chinese team in Team Regionals as the base. So quick look, the characters, the one that have 2 versions, we have Asha is the restricted one, so the strong 7 coster, and we have the redesigned Euron, and we have the warship Victorian, and core Balon. Okay, so the King Balon 7 coster was in our deck in Team Slovenia, but yeah, this one also strong. All 3 I think are completely eligible choices, and the rest pretty obvious, right? So some saves, the location cancel, these guys that come in for free, the cancels. So pretty straightforward. 2 milks, 2 sweet slips, and the locations slightly low on the warships, but there are still plenty for Victorian and for the eager deckhands. 3 copies of Great Kraken, which can be used to speed up if you are quick, or to draw if you expect the game to last a while longer. And even found room for a copy of Raiding the Bay of Ice, so that doesn't even need unopposed. You just trigger it on any challenge you win to get rid of a location. Now it gets put on top of the deck, which means you need to pillage it, right, to permanently get rid of it. And the plots, I think, are exactly the same. So brand the builder twice to search for all those warships. We have some Morghulis protection, we have Morghulis itself. This for the initiative. Can put locations into play, but not super important. I guess even just an Iron Gate is good enough. Nothing burns in combination with We Do Not Sow to hit really hard if it can. And coppers, once you get econ, you can draw and refill. And of course it plays 3 Ashes, so she is, if she gets going, she has 1 Maiden's Bane, but if she gets going, she just draws from such a large number of cards, often that finds all the answers you need. And yeah, let's have a look at the other deck. And what is this? Oh, this is the boring star-crossing deck from Dennis, right? You know all about this. Dennis explained how this deck worked and how he built it on one of the Friendly Council episodes for us, which was a really fantastic episode, so you can have a look at that if you haven't already. And this is actually the deck that has in different variations survived all the restricted lists for years now. He keeps getting good results with it, and the plan is quite simple. Just all the low-cost characters, try to get as many of them in play as possible. Not really the renowned rush types, so there is the AC, but not really much else. And She-Bear for more tempo is the restricted card, so get all of those into play if you can, and pull off the crossing challenge. And if it's power, or well, doesn't need to be the third challenge, I guess, anytime you can win it by 5, get the superior claims. And we have some other tricks. So we have I am no one, which means a character can attack standing, and the opening is here often is the Withering Cold. So you can have a character do all 3 challenges, or at least 2 challenges, without spending any resources, and then you have that available, those characters that you marshaled available after the Withering Cold the following round. And there is also Greyjoy, who can stand himself if you get him early with the Withering Cold revealed. And the other trick that I like a lot is Wolf in the Night. So on the weaker challenges, quite often when it looks like you're just trying to get rid of the first challenge that gives you the minus strength, and the opponent opposes, or if it's 0 strength, tries to let it go, because you can't win with 0 strength on attack, right? Or if you have more than 0 strength, the opponent opposes, but just barely, and then it turns out that you can get +3, and you push the challenge through, and your little guy gets renown as well. So to Harry's here, which I'm sure against Greyjoy he's happy to have. We have the Crown, so that's fantastic if you can time it against Morgulis, because so many of the characters are strength 1, and even Daisy with printed strength X just survives it. Okay, this for more econ, and at the Palace of Sorrows, okay, you're just going to marshal everything, right? And then the Balons and the Victarions suddenly not that strong against your board. So yeah, will be interesting to see how it goes. Now, yes, Dennis is playing. I believe he's listed anyway in the... let's have a look on the spreadsheet. So it's Dennis against Yang Xue from China, and I believe that China needs to win this to get the draw from this matchup, right? I'm not sure if this spreadsheet is getting updated as we speak. No, it's slightly out of date. So we just saw China win the last game. So should be, and we saw Austria winning the game before, just briefly, the Knights Watch Mirror. So should be 20 here and 15 here, right? So China to get a draw needs to win the last one, but they're not really that bothered, right? Because they are on 30 points and guaranteed to go through, and if they lose, then I guess Austria would overtake them, right? So this would be a good time to know the tiebreakers, and let me have a look at that. I believe it was posted the other day in announcements by Hannes. Yes, it was. So I will just read his message the way it was posted. So here is the summary of this. In case of ties, the following tiebreakers are applied. Number 1 is the number of total game wins. 2 is head-to-head results, if existing, and 3 is strength of schedule. And then in the unlikely event that teams are still tied, blah blah blah. So that's not going to happen probably. So total number of total game wins. Okay, this is going to be tricky now. So let's assume that China draws. That pushes Austria to 24 along with Greece and the USA. And I'm not, I don't know what the situation is, but it would be really important to know. So I guess if the game hasn't started, we can. We have the time to check, right? So total number of wins, so that means individual wins each round. So let's have a look. So the only thing that can make a difference now is whether China wins this and forces the tiebreak. If it doesn't, then if China doesn't win, then Austria is safe. Otherwise, there will be a three-way tie with Greece, the USA, and Austria. And let's have a look. So in round 1, Austria has 3 wins, the USA has 5 wins, and Greece has 5 wins. Then in round 2, we have Greece with another 5, so that's 10 for them. The USA with just the 1, so that's 6 for them. And Austria with 6 wins, so that would be 9. So 10, 9, and 6. Then in round 3, let's see, Greece goes from 10 to only 11, that hurts. Austria goes from 9 to... Where are you, Austria? From 9 to 15, and the USA goes from 6 to 12. And then in the last round, they tied, right? Greece and the USA, so it's 16 for the USA and 15 for Greece. And Austria is, did I say on 15, and they have 4 from this pairing? Yeah, so yeah, never mind. It's not decisive, right? So unfortunately, it seems like Greece is the one that loses. So there 7-1 loss to China. To be fair, USA lost just as badly, but this one, yeah, really hurts. Not getting much from this pairing, and here is where I think Austria, of course, deserve going through, because they made a match of it against China and are on the verge of winning if they can win the last one, while the other two were beaten really heavily. And did they play? They never played each other, right? Yeah. So just Austria never played Greece and the USA, but they did play each other, and looks like Greece is the one that will miss out after an excellent start, which is a shame. They played against... Oh, Austria did play against Greece, sorry. Yeah, tough schedule, but good tournament for them nonetheless. So they should finish in 5th place, right, in this group, and Germany also will go through, beating Spain, so they are on 28. So either Germany will be 2nd or 3rd, depending on what happens here. Austria can be then the tiebreaker again, so surely now China wins any tiebreaker, right? So China is 1st, Austria or Germany 2nd and 3rd. The order still to be decided, and the USA should be finishing 4th. That's the situation. Okay, let me know if I messed that up. Okay, yeah, is the Norway game over? What's going on there? So in the spreadsheet, we still have 3 games to be played here, and this one we saw France winning, right? We saw yeah, Renault winning his game, so he's on 25, and I think that pushes India behind France, and India and Norway collectively behind France and Italy if Italy wins. So is that officially over, or still the games to be played? So Norway needs to win all 3, and then what would the situation be? They would go to 24 and yeah, Italy only 18, so France and Norway would make it through then, right? Let's see how realistic it is for you guys to make it. Let's see what games are still to be played. So we have Knights of Summer against Stark Kohor. No, that's already over. Which one is it? Sorry. Aloof versus Tyrell Whitebook. Okay, that's completely playable for both sides, I think. Then we have Lannister Reigns against Martell, Banner of the what? Wolf? Sorry. Here we go. Banner of the Wolf. Okay. Well, good news is that it's not 2017, so this is not a crazy strong deck anymore, but could be tough anyway. And the last one is Greyjoy Wars against the Knights of Aloof. Yeah. Well, to get 3 back-to-back is tough, but all the individual matchups at least are playable, so will be very interesting to see. And some good players involved. One of the matchups is impossible. Which one would that be then? So what does the calendar say? When are these to be played? Straight after this game actually we have some of the India. Actually that one is over, so not that interesting. But then at 6 p.m. we have Norway, and then in the evening again. Yeah, so I'll be gone by then. Can't stream them, but maybe you guys will do it anyway. I believe the game is now going to start. Have I printed the... I have printed the decks, so can check them out. Greyjoy in trouble, we'll see. So see some kind of 2 minutes, okay. Some kind of chat has been established there, so any of you guys want to do commentary? Always nice to have company. Okay. Now this should be very interesting. So I guess the plan is pretty straightforward for Dennis, and I think this is a good matchup. I suspect it is for him, so play a bunch of stuff. Hope to get I Am No One or Greyjoy and the Withering Cold, and then as soon as he smells some kind of Morghulis, get the crown in and have the characters survive, and that will be alright for him. And yeah, he is going to intimidate if he can win military, and this guy does not care to be knelt. So if you have I'm No One on Sansa, that's a tricky start for Greyjoy, I believe. Okay, that's 3 people now that don't want to do commentary. Shame on you. Okay. And a bunch of people here. Now let's see how this goes, right? If Greyjoy gets enough military icons here, avoids intimidate, but it is the Withering Cold anyway, so if you over defend it, it's just as damaging, right? Unless you have Victarion and a bunch of Iron Fleet Scouts. I say Iron Fleet Scouts because the gold won't work out for anything else. Let's get another character, otherwise it's not quite strong enough, I think. For instance, this into She-Bear, and if she doesn't get cancelled, She-Bear into Arya or something. That's how it goes usually, right? Well, keeps 1 gold for now, which is let's say unusual. You would prefer to keep the character if you're not going to spend that gold, but let's see what the options are then. So the events I think are, yeah, actually they do cost 1, right? Wolf in the Night costs 1, I believe, and off to Galtown. So, and I know on the Friendly Council episode, Dennis talked about some kind of reduction that he sometimes misses. Donella Hornwood, right? Yeah, she's not in play. Greyjoy having to kneel some econ here. Would really love to keep this standing, right? Victorian? Euron. He could do with the silence, I think. There's no gold to marshal it if he has to search for it. But if it's in hand, that works out. Okay, searches for it. Now there's something else coming out, otherwise the locations wouldn't have been used on the Withering Cold turn. And this, right, so if anyone can just I say anyone, so a captain, which he is, if he can keep doing challenges, completely negates the Withering Cold. And there goes the Milk on Intimidate. So that was the way to get rid of him. And now it's completely backfired, I'm afraid, for Dennis, unless he has some answer. Because he can do his challenges and then this guy just strikes back if he doesn't oppose. So I am no one to keep to do challenges with a standing character. Would be really nice. Well, he's still doing the challenge. Can be just left, I think, to kill the reducer or defend it by an eager deckhand and then taken for claim. Claims the reducer anyway. And here we go, yeah, that's something he desperately needed. Now he's going to gain some power because Euron is not opposing this, right? Or is he? So after you win an unopposed challenge, if he opposes all of them, then okay, Wintering Cold just nails everything, it's not great. But it would stop Euron being left standing, right? Problem is, ooh, I was going to say the problem is silence comes in and stands him next round and he becomes annoying, but yeah, hitting that is the best thing, even if there's some kind of Victorian here, hitting that, can't complain, I think. And here she comes with 6, threatening the crossing trigger. And let's be honest, these two are not going to defend, right? Just to stop that. Well, this guy especially doesn't like to be knelt. Just becomes permanent. Now one thing to keep an eye on, of course, is the Valar Morghulis situation. So I said Dennis is in a good spot and smells it coming, he plays the crown. Now if it comes super early, he's not going to play the crown super early, right? And waste it. But if one of the cards is a reason to save Euron, and just go for it. The 2 cards lost for this guy. And then you hope to have a better rest of the game. That's possible to do. I don't know, some players are not afraid to just pull the trigger early. It's yeah, important decision point, and with open deck list especially, when you know all the counters that can happen. Some people leave it too late, some people waste it too early, but the best players can time it just right. So he's going to be opposed on any challenge he tries to do, but he does have Intimidate. Okay, and this one I think is just going to be defended. Dennis has 8 cards, so if everything is left knelt, doesn't matter. Just remarshals, and he has the stand here for now. And if he attacks into Sansa, I think she still has insight as well, right? Yeah, so keeps Euron standing. And now if Morghulis is played to save him, he is standing there against an empty board. But Dennis has the cards, and what does he have for Econ? Could play Fallen from favor. And he has a lot of gold, and if there's something unique, I guess Greyjoy, you can keep him out of the dead pile, or Sansa. Also possible to play the Withering Cold, although that is guaranteed to hit, right? It's not going to miss any round. What to do? Wasn't chosen instantly. And now I think Dennis plays Fallen from favor, right? Doesn't waste him the crown, and if, in case there is Morghulis, he is still safe with that in some way, I guess. Can keep one character alive and so much gold to remarshal. Yeah, that's exactly what he does. And no Morghulis. Maybe there isn't a reason and you need to dig for it first. Some dupes would be nice, because it's the same situation next round, and then if you're not on 10 power or something like that, you're not going to want to play your last Morghulis protection. Now, if the ace is in hand and she finds a dupe. There we go. Yeah. It's annoying when the opponent doesn't have power to steal, right? Slows you down. I think Dennis is in a great position now. He can do the crossing again, very likely, and he can then play the Winter Festival, knowing that Daisy survives. Well, full hand, but not the characters to oppose much here. He's still a captain that stands, so then he still needs to play around it. If he had another I am no one, wouldn't be too bad. He has the two armories still, so. Yeah, he wasn't going to stand again. See him everywhere, Eric, of course, in Mammers, and other Greyjoy decks as well. Is well worth it for the one copy. But occasionally a deck will try to somehow use him without spending him immediately. So either with some kind of stand or well, I've definitely tried Sir Pounce as well on him. Unopposed Intrigue gets the cancel. Okay, She-Bear exists, but nothing really else to be cancelled in Dennis's deck. And power. For the crossing trigger now. Okay, he opposes. I was going to say he... It's not enough to stop Superior Claim. Okay, should be Dominance as well, so it's going to go on 10, and now I'm sure he plays the Winter Festival. I was going to say, if Euron is left standing, he can do Military, Stand, Intimidate, Stand again, but I'm sure Dennis would spend the other armory then, right? To make sure Euron is not standing. Looking at options for Greyjoy now. And I'm not seeing them. There is only Morghulis now. This guy discards 2 of the 3 cards. You can hope for a save. Good chance to have it now with coppers. But she survives and you're up against Winter Festival then, right? Could also just be the crown, because Dennis is maybe counting on a win. She can do 2 challenges and you can do the crossing. Unless she gets milked, of course. And that's exactly what happens. Okay, I was thinking Winter Festival. Now, some characters do leave play. So, the River will stay, and Euron will be saved, I'm guessing. And then we have Jane, the Balance Count, and Daisy with her dupe. Dennis goes first, yeah. While there is no power on the faction card. Reason on Euron. He's given up, I guess, on trying to intimidate the board. mercenary contract or Queen's Guard on Eric. Well, it's a plan. Would be nice if he had insight as well. Queen's Guard characters tend to need insight to feed the hand, keep standing. Discarding, I'm no one. Can be used on Dicey. And Wina Manderly discarded, so she is not cost 1. Caitlyn and Shiber are the only ones that can leave play if there was military claim, which there isn't. Can't leave play, otherwise even she has some kind of ability that everyone always forgets. And Fanatic just being marshaled so that he can oppose as many challenges as possible. All of them, I guess, here. So there's no power to be stolen and no superior claim in hand, which means crossing is 11, and if the armor is used on Dicey, she can do 2 challenges, which should be 13. Assuming she can actually win them, I think she probably can. Losing great cost, so that's the calculation on the military challenge. 9 with this against... Yeah, if everything attacks, then Dennis wins, and then of course Dicey alone can beat Euron on with the Northern Armory on the crossing challenge as well, so Dennis can do everything he likes here. Wonder if the game would have gone a bit differently if silence wasn't hit on the intrigue claim. Okay, so I'm surprised. Thought Dennis would get to try to get to 13 and then Winter Festival next round. Now he is losing this one if Euron defends. Now if this guy defends, there is no hand for that trick that I mentioned. And now... Well, he need to win on defense. There's no claim. Okay, pillage. Don't think he needed to win on defense, but I don't think there is a way to stop the crossing challenge anyway, right? Except that now I think she can do it alone even. Let's see if Sheeper gets put into it anyway. No, okay, so yeah, that was a slight waste. Now it will be killing probably the Fanatic. So crossing and Dicey, and that leaves Euron standing. No claim, but he has this, and he has the Great Kraken, but Dennis has the Defenders. and 2 armories to stand dicey if Euron does something silly. And the Fanatic stays in play. Passing again. Now what? We have no plots that do anything for Greyjoy, that's the problem. Wins initiative, but yeah, it's a small victory. And of course the Winter Festival. So, you can try to magically intimidate everything, but it needs a sequence first to intimidate her, but then she stands anyway. Stops Maiden's Bane on the other challenge, stops the Great Kraken. It's just a nightmare. Now, a Milk and Dicey would be nice. He can help to win challenges. Even if he somehow magically took the northern armories away, he can kneel them if he likes, but you know, he has 4 warships and 2 of them do stuff. It's impossible. It's impossible for Greyjoy, I think. If he attacks, then he's going to concede power for some unopposed, and it will be quite easy for Dennis to do 3 challenges, right? And if he passes, then it's just challenge into power on the 3rd one. Or you can even make the calculation right for dominance if it wins you with the Winter Festival. So yeah, a concession. Just have a quick look if there is anything here. So yeah, he can take silence for himself, I guess, to give him an extra stand. But yeah, that's it. So both teams make the cut, and I believe China stays ahead. I've not calculated their score, but I believe they have something like 21 or 20 wins in the first 3 games already, so this would be 23, and Austria is not quite there. So China should be first in the group, and Austria will be second after this, and I believe Germany is third. Then the USA also makes the cut as the 4th team. So I believe, was it last night or 2 nights ago, we had a stream by Zini of 2 games from Greece versus the USA. If you want to see how that finished, you can check those out. And yeah, missing out is Greece, Poland, Spain, some strong teams. Berlin as well had some really top players there, and Chile and Hungary. And we still await how the group fire will finish. So, as has been mentioned, there is one mystery remaining there, and that's if Norway can win the last 3 games against Italy. So if they don't, then Italy and France overtake Norway and India. They both finish on 24. I believe the Czech Republic is ahead because they drew against Catalonia, right? So it's Catalonia, the Czech Republic, and then Italy and France. And if Norway ties, then it would be Catalonia, Czech Republic, Norway, and France, not sure in what order, for the 3rd and 4th place. And who is missing out here? Yeah, so India can't make it, I believe, anymore. And also Bulgaria, Israel are out. They came with with lots of players, with decent teams, had some good games. And Slovenia, I think with a win, might finish in 8th place actually, with a win against Australia, and Australia at the bottom. So yeah, I think it's fair to say, I think most people would agree that this group is slightly easier on paper, but you know, we'll see. I think the teams that made it through here are going to be incredibly strong in the cut. So not sure what the format is like in the cut. Is it set that one plays 4 and 2 plays 3 from the other group? I believe that's probably, it would make the most sense, right? So it would be then Catalonia would play the USA, and the Czech Republic would play Germany, and then China against whoever finishes in 4th place, and the other team would play Austria. So that's most likely going to be Italy and France to play China and Austria. So yeah, some really interesting stuff left in this tournament. Okay, so I believe that's all I have for you today. No games coming up that would interest me, and I've been streaming basically this, and the playtesting went all morning, so a bit tired now. So you can hopefully find the stream somewhere. I believe, yeah, Zini said that we'll be streaming the games in a bit of the other pairing that is still to be decided. So hopefully you can have a look at that if it interests you. Otherwise, I guess you can catch up with my videos and maybe even the occasional live stream in the following weeks when we have a look at the cut. So thanks again for joining me, and see you all next time.